Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wingcat Sports, and it's our draft preview video. We're just going to focus on the draft. You know, we've had draft talk on a couple of the videos, but this one's just strictly going to be the NFL draft coming up on Thursday. This should come out tomorrow, Wednesday. So we got a day basically to the draft when this comes out. Right now, the Lions have a pick basically in every single round but the fifth. They own the 28th, 60th, 102nd, 130th, 196th. 228 and 244 overall picks. We'd probably trade some of those and trade up on other occasions. But basically, you got to pick in every round, but the fifth right now and two in the seventh overall. So we'll see where the Lions go. A lot of reporters seem to think we're going to go with an edge rusher to start the draft. But we'll see what happens. There's rumors of JMO being traded. There's probably a chance we go offensive line. But we know with Brad Holmes, we really could go anywhere.
Right. He's very unpredictable. He goes by better the feel and the players that he likes, and he has them on his board, and he takes who he likes. He doesn't really give a crap what if people say, well, you shouldn't take him there or you shouldn't take him here. He did that with Jahmyr Gibbs last year. Everyone thought it was ridiculous that we took him so early, but hey, he's been a hell of a player the last 2 years back when we took him a couple of years back.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't fault the results. Lions are probably the best they've ever been in my lifetime. In 50 plus years, I've been watching this team. They're the first time they're actually a legit, Super Bowl contender for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And they should be for the next couple of years. We'll see what happens. Nothing's guaranteed, but I think we're certainly going to be competing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they seem to think we're going to go lineman. Obviously, it's how far will some of them fall, because I've seen some of us say we're going to take Kenneth Grant, some saying we're taking James Pierce Jr. Right now, that's what Fox Sports is saying, is that we're going to take James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee. He's 6'5", 243.
I've also heard that they really want to move up and possibly take that Shamar Stewart, because he'd be a perfect guy on the other side of Hutchinson. He's a little bit of, I guess, issues with his personality and stuff like that. But, I don't think that that's going to scare off Holmes if they feel they like him. I guess it's going to be interesting. Like I said, on the defensive line, there's just a hell of a lot of
it's just where are they going to go for? Are they going to stay back where they're at and probably either get Pierce or Grant? Are they going to go more offensive linemen, which I know is a possibility for them to kind of boost up where they're at? Again, they might not get a top guy, but they probably could get closer to the top of an offensive lineman than the top of the defensive lineman. Maybe they can get lucky and get like a Josh Simmons, who's number 4. Maybe Ahmad Mambu.
Well, I think that Josh Simmons, he's kind of a possibility because he got injured, right? Was that the Ohio State lineman that was injured?
Possibly.
I know one of them was, and they feel like, or Donovan Jackson or something like that. They just feel like one, I don't know what the scouting report. I know one of them was hurt, and they said he could drop down to them, and he's probably the best lineman in the draft.
Yeah,
I think it's Josh Simmons who I was talking about and stuff like that. But either one, Ohio State was a great school, great program. I don't care. Like I said, linemen are always valuable, and I agree with you. I think they're either going to go on one side of the ball or the next. Whoever,
that's at least where where they should go. Again, we don't know what they will do. The reason why JMO's been in trade rumors is because they potentially could move up in the draft by offering maybe their first and JMO to move up, and he's projected to make $15.4 million with his 5th-year option. So there's a chance they might move on from him just because of that larger amount that he's probably not worth due to what he's been doing off the field. But we'll see what the Lions decide to do. Because, again, there's other routes they can go, because you can, again, look at edge rushers. Like we said, the kind of same people we talked about, and we'll see what they end up doing, right? Could they go after Stewart? Maybe they end up going staying back and get Pierce. We'll see what they do. Other places they probably are going to look at and draft every single year. Brad Holmes drafts a wide receiver, and you're going to probably get more of one in the later rounds, probably sitting further down there, around probably I wouldn't say the 25th rank, but maybe between the 12th and the 25th ranked wide receivers might be on his possibility of someone to go for. Who might they try? Who might they not? It's a question mark because you guys think of where you're going to go. Guys like Wells Jr. out of Ole Miss, Thornton Jr. out of Tennessee.
I like his size, Thornton Jr. I mean, I think, like I said, that's what you're kind of looking for: fast, big.
Say the overall 30th ranked in the position, Keandre Lambert Smith, right? 182 pounds, 6'1", 4.3 40-yard dash, right? And overall, again, he's at a 79 rank, but you're not really going to get a high wide receiver. Usually he takes a mid-round wide receiver. Remember, they took Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th round a few years ago. It could go that way. Again, you might go linebacker. That is probably where they're going to go with their 2nd round pick is linebacker. More than likely, a lot of people think we might be able to get the guy out of Ohio State. If I can find him, I'm forgetting his name. He's a bigger guy. Sawyer, yeah, Jack Sawyer. Which I guess he's not a linebacker. Surprising. I thought he was a linebacker. He's always lined up in linebacker, but they could go after Jack Sawyer. That is the rumor where they're going is Jack Sawyer. But they could go somewhere else along that route to just a regular linebacker later on in the 2nd round. There is no projections on this list that I'm looking at, so I can't even get a guy who closely resembles where we might be at. But linebacker is a big spot where they might need to find somebody. Maybe they could get someone from the SEC. Maybe get Mondon Jr. He's 9th ranked. Maybe he falls enough for you. He's 235.
What is their quarterback situation this year? Are they going with Rakestraw and Tyrion Arnold?
I think they will. And again, they have Reed and they have
might
Robinson.
Go quarterback just to get some depth because
later on.
Well, they don't really know if Rakestraw is going to be a guy they can count on yet. He didn't play much last year.
He did not. He very much did not.
I think they're very high on Arnold, though. They liked what they had last year from him, and I think he's only going to get better.
Yeah, I mean, again, we'll see where they kind of end up thinking about where going. There we go. They put him on an edge rusher. Jack Sawyer, right? He's 6'5", 260. They think he might drop to us in the 2nd round. Overall, right? We'll see what happens. Him on one side and then Hutch on the other.
Right.
It would be interesting to say the least, I think.
Well, I mean, he's one of those guys who, maybe, like you said, you can get some value out of him and get him in the 2nd or 3rd round.
I have just a feeling they might go more deep. Your offense is so put together. It's difficult to think where you might go offensively because I don't think they'll go the tight end route. I don't think, unless it's like a late round tight end, I don't think they're going to go running back unless it's a late round running back. Wide receiver, they always take one, usually in the mid to late rounds.
Right. I mean, this is what, the thing with, we were always so excited about the draft because our team sucked. But now, our team doesn't suck. And so
we don't even know what to talk about. That's the problem.
Right. It's hard to know which direction because they really don't have many needs.
Your oldest part of your team is your offensive line, and that's what most of us know, right? That's why you're probably going to go offensive line every single draft and just try to get younger.
Right.
But outside of that, where are your concerns at? There isn't really many concerns. You could say it's the cornerback, but you got 2 young cornerbacks, so you're going to draft another one. You're not going to draft a safety. Your linebackers would be your next area of worry, so they might go linebacker. But you have Anzalone, and you have a couple other young guys at linebacker. So where are you going to go? What overall are you going to do?
It's a good problem to have. So, like I said, trust in Brad and don't get too caught up in whoever he takes. Just understand, like I said, he's going to fit into the scheme. These are not going to be, we already have our team pretty much established. So I would like to see more depth at defensive tackle because we're losing Reader next year. They're not going to re-sign.
No, they're going to try to save their money where they can.
And so, I mean, signing a defensive tackle might be smart. Like you said, that guy from Michigan. I'd like to see, like I said, that would be a smart thing to do, probably.
So let's look at we'll look around at some websites and see if we can find some mock drafts to what potentially where we could be going. If it wouldn't stop giving me ads every single time I'm trying to look at something. Well, they're going to send me to a YouTube channel. They can't just show me what they're projected. Because I'm assuming we're going to do a lot of defense. Because I can find one.
Most of the mock drafts I've seen have shown us taking defensive linemen. And they're, like I said, anywhere on there. These guys have no more idea what Holmes is going to do than anybody else. Because you don't know how the draft goes. In fact, this year probably is a little even stranger. I know they said that Ward is like basically penciled in on everybody's mock draft to go first.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think that there are, players that it like in other years where you knew what the top 5 were going to be.
No, I mean, they have had people move around. Travis Hunter was projected to be the first one. Now I think he's dropped to like 4 or 5. Cam Ward is now projected to be the number 1 pick over Sanders, who's projected now to go to Cleveland, which would be where he definitely does not want to go. It's been all over. It's been all over.
Right. If I was Cleveland, I would stay away from him in the first round. I just don't. Yeah.
Is it? I don't know what their full on plan. Sanders is probably not as good as he's advertised because they just hyped him up so much.
Right.
In Colorado, just because his dad was there coaching. So I don't know where he feels that's going to end up. He should end up being, but overall, I don't think that there's really going to be too much going on.
Right. I mean, I certainly would not want to be the quarterback of Cleveland drafts if they expect him to just walk in on day 1 and start playing.
Here we go. I finally found one that's actually giving me a pick. So this is Sports Illustrated. They think we're going to go with an interior offensive lineman, Tyler Booker, out of Alabama with the first pick of the draft. So they think we're going to go offensive line.
Tyler Booker
on the offensive line. So that's their first pick for us. Which again, I don't know how well that is, but he's a 325-pound, 6'5" lineman out of Alabama. So you mean that might be good. He's a guard.
They do like Alabama.
So there's your first pick of the draft. Second pick will be Darius Alexander, a defensive tackle out of Toledo, which again is surprise. Like again, second round, that makes sense. You're going to end up getting somebody who's not as high in the draft. In fact, he's not even higher here. You gotta try and find him.
What's his last name? Taylor?
Alexander. Say defensive tackle, but I don't see him even on this website.
Which makes it what he usually. That's Holmes takes these guys no one's even heard of or something.
Yeah, he's out of Toledo. He had 22 sacks.
That's hilarious.
Across 5 seasons in the MAC conference. So we'll see what ends up happening there.
What's his name?
Darius Alexander.
Darius Alexander. There he is.
Oh, you finally found him on your website?
On this site. I just searched him. Yeah, he's pretty dang.
With the third pick, they think we're going to go with a safety, Jonas Sanker out of Virginia. He had a top 30 visit during the pre-draft, so we'll see what happens. He had 273 career combined tackles in 4 seasons and 2 sacks in 2024. They think we'll probably go that way just because if he left. With the fourth pick, like I said, you're going to go with a wide receiver, Isaac Tesla. I'm going to assume it's Tesla. Tesla. however you pronounce it. Wide receiver out of Arkansas.
This is what they think?
This is what they think. We're going to go with a wide receiver in the 4th round. This is if we don't end up trading. Round 6, pick 196. Hugh Robinson, an edge rusher out of Alabama. And in the 7th round, we're going to take a cornerback, Triquezy Bridges out of Florida.
Nobody we know.
And Branson Harrison, offensive tackle out of Pittsburgh in the 7th round. So they...
Right. I mean, if that's who they're going to take, the Lion fans are going to be like, what? And, you know.
Hey, it's 3 linemen.
It might be great.
3 linemen and then a wide receiver, really, is what I'm seeing. But, hey, we'll see what ends up happening. Again, it's weird because there's not as much going on because we are a better team. The talk has been down on the draft, and it's kind of just been, we'll see what happens. You know, we've learned not to really care what Brad Holmes does.
Well, right. I mean, if they do trade J-Mo, expect them to take a wide receiver fairly early.
They might do that. They might go after a wide receiver early just because, right, we won't have J-Mo. Might go after a deeper threat,
right?
Potentially. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't think they'll trade J-Mo, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I just think that they realize I don't think they're going to re-sign him.
They might not do his 5th-year option. They might not, but we'll see what happens. But we'll end it here with the draft video. Again, not the most in-depth because there's hasn't been as much talk. If you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think the Lions are going to do during the draft. And until next time, we'll see everybody soon.